This is Matt from MGMT Boston. On this episode of The Lantern, we are downtown Boston at Salsify with the head of sales engineering globally, Nick Abate. We're going to find out what Salsify is, what he's working on, what he's learned leading teams at this rapidly growing startup in Boston and beyond. Nick, thank you for having me in your office.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
First and foremost, tell us what Salsify is for those who don't know.
Yeah, so Salsify has been around for about 12 years now. We're an enterprise SaaS company whose mission is really to make every product experience matter. So we primarily work with brand manufacturers. So you can think of anybody who makes a product, essentially.
Right.
And our primary focus is making sure we enable them to get their product content to market on their digital retailers. So if you go to Amazon.com and you search for a product, there's a bunch of information, images, stuff about the product. Our job is to help brands organize that content, generate that content, and distribute it out to those destinations.
A tall task. Now, as it comes to sales engineering specifically, like what is your role? What does your team do to enable that whole motion to work?
Yeah, so I have a group of SEs and enterprise architects that span all of the segments of our business and all of the regions that we work in. And our primary focus is helping brands really understand how our platform can solve, they're both near and long-term challenges centered around digital product information. So we're every day talking to customers, every day trying to help them understand the technology and how it solves a business need for them. And, we're fortunate enough to work with some of the best brands in the world.
Yeah. And now growing across the globe, growing your career, you certainly have been through a lot.
Yeah.
What is your advice for maybe other up and coming operators? Maybe it's founders thinking about, building out their org chart. What have you learned about leading teams and sort of, growing this company at Salsify?
I've always been excited about the journey Salsify has been on, right? I've been here for quite some time, and that's always kept me motivated and excited. But honestly, what's been most fulfilling is working with the team of people around me. I think if I could give any advice to folks in my role or trying to build teams and startups, there's a couple things that I think are really important. One is, understand the talent profile you're trying to hire for. And that's not just the individual talent, right? Looking at the broad set of the team's skill set, what are the things that the broader team needs? So if you think about my group, we've got some really technical focused folks, and I've got some folks that are more sales strategy oriented. And the great part about having those two skill sets in the same org is a lot of those skills cross-pollinate between each other, right, which is fantastic. The other thing I would say is really try and understand motivation, right? What motivates not just the full team you've built, but also the individuals. Everybody's motivated differently. Some people are more interested in comp, others working the hardest, biggest deals, others, cross-functional projects. So really understanding the motivation, I think, is mission critical to setting folks up for success. And then the thing that's worked well for me is obviously, I'm not setting the vision of the company, but I'm supporting the vision of the company, and translating that vision and what we do every day is important for my group to understand, but even more important than that is the why behind the things we're doing.
Definitely.
So I think understanding the why, understanding how people are motivated is really important to success.
That's great advice. And last but not least, how can we help you in Boston grow? How can we help Salsify grow for anyone else listening, enabling this brand to get to the next level?
Yeah, look, I think the Boston ecosystem is a really strong one. And I think the thing that I've found most valuable around town here is making connections with folks that are in the community, learning from each other and spending time, engaging and taking learnings from other places and other businesses. And I think my biggest ask is to keep the community going, and let's keep communicating, because it's going to make us all better.
For any sales engineering folks, this is Nick from Salsify, Matt from MGMT Boston in this episode of Lantern. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.